Let's go.
What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube and Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another episode of the Young Guns podcast with my co-host Kid Blue, and we're gonna have guest Bobby Skinner on in about 10 to 15 minutes. First things first, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Diggy, man. He says first time I made a stream early. Well,
hey, my boy Diggy.
Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Diggy made a video that's now become a personal favorite of mine on his channel, where he literally is just kind of going in on himself with Daniel Jones.
I gotta see that. I gotta see.
He also calls out other YouTubers. I'm not sure if it's like YouTubers that even I watch, like Strong Opinion Sports and stuff like that.
Zach Schaumler,
yeah, Zach Schaumler.
I like Zach, but he doesn't like Daniel Jones. He doesn't like Daniel
Yeah, he
like
is very clear. Yeah, I noticed it too. It's funny, like a couple things Diggy mentioned in that vid. Like I've noticed it as well. That's besides the point. Y'all know who Diggy is. Go check him out. Congrats on 8K. He just hit 8K.
Yes, sir. I think he's at like 8.05 already. I think I see him, Diggy. Awesome.
Probably. Shout out to Dustin Mosley, Yovraj Singh, Sober Party, Sergeant Mayhem, amazing guy, Steve, Dustin Mosley. What's up, man? How y'all looking? MVP, bro. But Kid Blue, how you doing? Did you see that? Daniel Jones has an MVP.
So was there a Nickelodeon broadcast that we didn't see?
No idea. It doesn't make sense because there's no way they have Fox.
It wasn't broadcasted at all. Like we're not seeing like the NFL like accounts they showing the slime and stuff like that. Like I didn't see that. How was there an MVP? I guess maybe there was supposed to be a broadcast and something didn't work out. I don't know. But the fact that Daniel Jones got awarded MVP and he wasn't even in the game, like where was he at? It was like after the game, right? Because he was already out of his jersey and stuff like that. So I don't know. They do it. Wait, they do the MVP thing every week? Yvette says. Steve, you would know. You would know, Steve. He watches Nick every day. So
I guess, man. Why did my entire camera just got everything's going bad, man. First KB tells me that my mic doesn't sound right. Now my camera is like super dark. Like what is going on?
I think you sound good. I think you sound good now. I think I was just over. I had my headphones on loud, so.
What in the y'all just saw that, right? My camera just turned mad. My lighting is bright as ever. I have no idea. Oh my god, it's crazy. Giants singing here as well. They sleepwalk through our game with a different team. Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about the Eagles. We're gonna talk about, of course, the game we just came back from. We're gonna talk about a couple certain players. I mean, we're gonna talk about the fact that maybe the Eagles are a little too overhyped. But the first thing I want to talk about that I didn't really get a chance to make a I guess you could say a overlay for, because I wouldn't even know how to word it, is the way some people just hold on to agendas, is I guess what I'll say. Some people are just so stubborn, and no, stubborn is not the right word. So prideful, stupid, I could definitely throw in there. Just want to seem right, petulant, like a child. Petty isn't even right. Petulant is the correct word.
That's a nice word right there, man. That's a college education word right there.
Some people are just all of that they can't let go of
Nick
their hate.
Nick Wright.
You know what? The crazy thing is, I don't think they hate Daniel Jones. I was gonna say they hate for Daniel Jones. No. It's the hate that they were wrong. The hate that they look foolish. Literally, it comes back to things like being wrong on draft day. Like, Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright.
You know what it is?
Somebody else? Stephen A. Smith. He's kind of eased up, but like he still has never really came back to it. Shannon Sharp to an extent. Shannon Sharp kind of doubled down because I watched him the Monday after the game. He was like, Daniel Jones was terrible. I'm like, he wasn't really terrible. even Mina Kimes to an extent, she's kind of, because a lot of Giants fans called her out because she was super unprofessional when he got drafted, and now she's kind of just ignoring Daniel Jones like he never existed
or something like that. Like, what?
I don't even know. A lot of these quote unquote professional people who, like I said with the Mina Kimes examples, certainly don't act professional in certain times. And then you got people that are on YouTube as well, like Zach Shalmer, who I do still have like a modicum of respect for. He's a good football podcaster.
Exactly.
Like this. Take it away, KB. Shout out to R0B, Duran, and Asia in the chat.
You know what I think? Are you referring to the Daniel Jones talk or the Giants talk? Are you referring to like people talking about Daniel Jones or the Giants?
I was referring to the Daniel Jones mostly because I think there's much more hate there for him for basically no good reason than anywhere else.
You know what I think it is? These old heads and these mainstream media, sports media, they're not like as well versed. To be honest with you, they're not well versed as we are. Because we stick to a certain team and we like learn. They think it's still, that's what I was laughing at. They think it's still cool to like rag on Daniel Jones. That's what they think. They think it's still cool to do that. Colin Cowherd had one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life. And worst analogies I've ever heard in my life, talking about being a tutor or something like that. And
yeah, he was describing Daniel Jones as a child. And Brian Dable is a tutor.
Like you teaching your child to like be
bro,
better.
Colin Cowherd's analogies are always terrible, bro.
But I can dismantle that analogy
or a car or something.
I can dismantle that analogy in 2 seconds. Who gets the credit? Even if you were to teach your child to do something well, the parent doesn't get the credit, the tutor doesn't get the credit, the kid gets the credit. So I don't understand. He walked himself over the cliff with that analogy, but it doesn't make any sense. But Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith is still talking about Daniel Jones and the Giants, and I understandably so, because I don't think he doesn't hate the Giants because his whole family are Giants fans and he has a soft spot for the Giants. He just doesn't think they're going to beat the Eagles. Fair enough. But guys like Nick Wright,
you got to tell me what Nick Wright said after the game, because I was so just disgusted and annoyed with him that
I don't know what he said after the game. He hasn't, so far as I know, he hasn't not even apologized. He hasn't even addressed the subject. As I know, maybe Diggy can correct me on that because he seems to like know more about what the mainstream says. But before that, I mean, he was going off on Daniel Jones. Like, forget about the team. It was like the Vikings versus Giants, and he was just talking about Daniel Jones the whole time and how I can't believe, like, you guys really can't believe in this guy. He's bad. He's garbage. He's not good. And he literally said, there was a tweet, I don't know when it's from. I think from sometime in 2022, or maybe it was before that, where he literally said Daniel Jones is not an NFL quarterback, that he shouldn't have a job in the NFL. He starts alone. You're telling me this guy is not even worth being a backup quarterback? Come on, bro. Like that, you gotta hate a guy so much to say that. Like Colt McCoy is still in the NFL, for crying out loud. I mean, there are a lot of quarterbacks still in the NFL. You're telling me DJ shouldn't be a quarterback in the NFL? Nick Wright is just a garbage. He also hates Josh Allen for whatever reason. He has him as like the 5th best quarterback still left in the playoffs. He has Trevor Lawrence over him. He has Brock Purdy, and I know Diggy trying to defend this, but you can't defend it. He has Brock Purdy over Daniel Jones. He has Daniel Jones as the worst
You never say his full name when you talk about him.
You say his full name.
You know there are consequences when I say it. You know there are consequences when I say it, okay?
Yo, if you guys don't know the context,
so you have to say
Kush chokes on nothing every time he mentions Brock Purdy's real name, okay?
So you say the full name.
It's not nothing, though. It's not nothing. Analysts be some glizzy gladiators. They think it's still cool to rag. Like Colin Cowherd, you think he pays attention to any of what we're talking about? Or Nick Wright, you think they pay attention to what we're talking about? They think they're going to say whatever they think is going to be trending and get clicks. And honestly, it is, but they think that people are going to be on board with them. They can't. Listen.
This is true, too.
Eli still gets hate like he's not a Hall of Fame. Yeah, they're still having debates. They're still having, not recently, because Eli hasn't really made news recently, but like after he retired.
You know what's funny? I just want to say, when they a lot of these players, including a lot of these experts, including former players, when they pop on Eli shows like the YouTube show and then on the Manning cast, they got nothing to say to his face. And it's not even like Eli's an intimidating guy. He's very nice.
It's always respect. Always,
they have nothing to say to his face because they know that they're in the presence of a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like
2 Hall of Fame.
That's what always cracks me up. But like I said, even when he's on his YouTube show, like Stephen A. Smith has a lot to say about Eli, but not when he was on his show.
And when you were talking and looking at a little bit more into Colin Cowherd's clip, he was like literally giving. He also contradicted himself in this too. He's talking about how Daniel Jones has a terrible yards per game, passing yards per game, and then in the same sentence says that he doesn't have any receivers and thinks that that's not an excuse for him not having a lot of pass yards per game, and then proceeds to talk about the defense. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how if the team does bad, it's Daniel Jones's fault. If the team is great on the up and up, it's not Daniel Jones' part. You know, he doesn't partake in that whatsoever. Here's something that I like that Antonio said on a Twitter space, Breaking Tackles Giants. He was saying, listen, when it comes to these wins and losses, how good a team is, the quarterback should get the majority of the blame if they lose and the majority of the praise if they win. Like if it's because of him. You can't tell me.
When was this? I didn't know Skip said this to Eli's face.
No, not
to Levance. What's up?
Wait, what?
Skip? No, that was the comment I just
messed to Eli's face. Oh, you don't remember that? That was years ago. That was when Eli was still playing. And Eli clapped back though. I forgot what he said to give.
Y'all gotta tell me what was the exchange words.
Eli clapped back, but like pass it like kind of like nonchalant. But Eli's a beast, bro. Eli's awesome. Nick Wright, yo. First of all, what's up with Nick Wright's hair? Does he not? Did his barber leave him? Like he used to like get a cut, some sort of haircut. I mean, at least look cleanly cut. This man just like long hair, don't care.
He thinks. I know exactly what he thinks. No, he thinks that he's Keanu Reeves, John Wick, bro. But he's not.
He's got to, bro, because I don't know what the hell he's trying to sport, but it's not his look. Like that's not him. Like Nick Wright, what are you doing?
But to get back to the point, because now we're hating on these people, rightfully so. But let go of the pettiness that you have for just wanting to be right about your Daniel Jones draft day take, and just give him credit. Right. Admit you were wrong. At least I can respect Dan Orlovsky for saying he's wrong. Even Emmanuel Acho, who we could all admit is a clown at times, he was like, I'm wrong. Not even for hating on Daniel Jones, because I didn't even talk about Daniel Jones on the show. Like,
what up, Adam?
That's all I'm saying, man. What up, Adam? How you doing, man?
He's an Eagles fan. He's disgusting.
Watson in here as well. Guys, as you popping in, make sure you smack that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and most importantly, hit that share button. Now, I'm probably gonna replay this this intro to the topic whenever Bobby pops in here, but I do want to kind of get into it a little bit, unless you got any other preliminary things, KB, to talk about. Actually, I do have one other preliminary thing, if you don't.
Go ahead.
The coaches officially, both the coordinators, officially addressed the, basically both of them got called for head coaching interviews, and they said that they're not going to do it this week.
Right. Yeah, I heard that.
In particular, Dominic Martindale said a really interesting quote. He said he never viewed the Giants as a stepping stone. He always viewed it as a destination. So I don't know if that's his way of saying that he plans to stay here at least for like a couple of years. I'm taking it as saying that he's gonna explore his options, but maybe ultimately come back because he wants to stay here and finish what he's building. He said he likes it here. Community, you know, all the coach speak, but that line specifically, I'm like, all right, maybe you're gonna be here for a couple of years. Mike Kafka, he didn't really say anything so profound, but even then, I'm like, I hope Kafka and Wink, I really hope both of them, maybe when they signed on with Dayball, it was like at least like a 3-year experiment or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm hoping that our franchise, our team right now is in a state in the locker room and in the front office that they feel united, but they feel like family, right? We always say that about every franchise, like every regime. Oh, we're family. Like I really feel like they're banded, like they feel like family. I think that Kafka and Wink would want to see where this team takes them. Like, I feel like they would want to stay 1 or 2 more seasons before they explore a head coaching job. Because think about it like this. People never think about this, right? Of course, you always want a promotion. You have a job, you see a promotion, you're like, yo, I want that. But in this instance, if you really feel like this Giants team in the next couple of years could win a Super Bowl, why would you not want to pursue this instead of going to a team that you probably don't know, you probably have no familiarity with, and you have to build from the ground up again? What if you fail? And then you're thrown, like Kafka is an offensive coordinator right now. He goes to be a head coach. He can get fired in 2 years and be demoted back to a quarterback's coach for some other team. You know, why do you want to risk that? If you really feel like this team is going to do something, then why not try to chase that until the window closes and you can move on? Like you see a lot of teams that win championships, their coordinators leave, their coaches leave because they already got what they wanted. They got that Super Bowl. Now they want to get promotion. They want to seek success elsewhere and try to, build a legacy somewhere else. So I would think it's in best non-bias. I try to keep it as non-biased as possible. But non-biasedly, I think that it would be in Wink Martindale and Kafka's best interest to stay here for at least like 1 or 2 more seasons, see how this shakes out, and try to win a chip. And then whenever that window closes, or when they feel like the window is closing, they could seek promotions. I mean, obviously, they're probably gonna do their interviews anyway. So we'll see what happens. But why would you not want to stay? Why would you not want to stay? I don't understand. But
I will say, yeah, everybody remembers Dimberly Martin. And yeah, she be in the Giants locker room. I'm like, you got no shame, bro. Because like only a couple weeks after, she was in the Giants locker room looking for quotes from players.
Kim Martin. Who's Kim Martin? I know Kim Jones.
He was the one that said that the Giants should be tanking like around week 5.
Like her. You know that's crazy. I only ever saw her there. I never seen her anywhere else before. But Kim Martin is, oh my God, that
always
was
on Get Up, and I think occasionally on First Take. But that said, let's get into the first topic.
Cousins, Hawkinson, he is not gonna get there. What a game. First postseason win for the Giants since their Super Bowl run with Eli Manning. And now they play the Eagles in Philadelphia, a familiar foe, next weekend.
Open it up, KB. Not the same ending.
Isn't it so beautiful? Like, I look back at that, and I'm like, I just go back to when we watched that 4th down live, bro. How just something like something just a light switch just flicked in me, bro, and just instantly just started going crazy because we're moving on to the division. Like, it's January 18th, guys. It's January 18th, and we're talking about Giants football. Like, we're talking about Giants football right now. We're talking about a game. We're preparing for a game. There are 24 other teams right now focusing on the draft and free agency. Okay, and we're still talking about.
Wait.
Hey, there we go. What up, Bobby?
Hold on,
Mister.
Mic and my headphones in, and
you're all good.
I'm a fucking mess right now. What's going on, fellas?
Look at that beautiful man right there.
How you guys doing?
Look at that hair.
Great.
How you doing, man?
I wanted to get a haircut this week, man. I had time to do nothing, but the Giants are winning, and it's the playoffs, so I don't give a damn. What's going on?
What's going on,
man? The chat is welcoming you. So the first thing I'll do, I literally just played the intro for the first topic, so I'm going to replay it real quick. We didn't even get into the first topic, Bobby, so let me just replay that intro.
Cousins, Hawkinson, he is not going to get there. What a game. First postseason win for the Giants since their Super Bowl run with Eli Manning. And now they play the Eagles in Philadelphia, a familiar foe, next weekend.
As we were saying, where were you? But well, we know where you were. I saw the reaction. I saw it. It went. It was pretty nice. You guys had 200 people
over there,
man.
Bro.
It was super amazing.
I wish I could go to that, bro.
You in Florida, nothing stopping you from flying up, bro.
So I know. I'm flying up tomorrow, man. Meet me at Orlando, 6 a.m. flight. Let's go.
You flew back down. Now you're going back up?
Yeah, well, we didn't know we were going to do the whole damn thing again, you know.
Oh, shit. Oh, I wish I could just, like, impromptu just call out and just freaking go, man. Oh, man.
I know. It was a good time. I will say, though, looking back at it, and I probably said this line like 5 times already, that you know how players be like, when I put the helmet on, I'm a totally different human being. When that thing, like when that kickoff happened, man, I turned into like the worst version of Bobby Skinner. Like I was cussing out people. I was ready to go.
Yeah, especially that 4th down. I was just saying it before you popped in here. Like I went absolutely berserk after that 4th down, man. Just realizing that we won a playoff game. We're moving on to the divisional round. It's surreal, man. It's surreal, especially from this season, what we thought it would be and where we are now, man. It's crazy.
It was funny. My friend, who's not even a Giants fan, but they had us on Bleacher Report for it. And he's like, yeah, I just saw you on the Bleacher Report app. You screaming, fuck Minnesota and fuck you.
Minnesota.
Give us all the thoughts that were running through your head when Kirk Cousins checked down to TJ Hawkinson on a 4th and 8 for, what was it, a 3-yard pass, basically, is what it was?
Oh, well, pre-snap, I mean, if throughout the game, we're like, man, like, I understand Justin Jefferson's something different. Like, he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. I think he should take second in MVP voting this year to Mahomes. But it's like, man, you got to press him up. Like, giving him free releases and doubling is just leaving other guys like Hawkinson wide open. And then you saw toward like the last couple of drives, they brought McKinney down, put him in man, and then they had Adoree pressing him. You knew they had, like, you know, Love over the top or another safety over the top. As soon as I saw that pre-snap, I'm like, oh, this is it. This is game. And, you know, Dex wins his battle. Kirk checks it down. McKinney's not going to miss that tackle. And it was just like, dude, we did it. Like, we're going to the second round.
And I was going to say that Dexter Lawrence saved that play because you had Dalvin Cook leaking out, and I believe it was Tony Jefferson on him, and he had a couple of yards of separation on him. If Kirk Cousins had probably a second or two or even a half second to just look to his left and see Dalvin Cook wide open, he probably could run for a first down or something like that. But yeah, Dexter Lawrence completely shut that down. And
that whole drive, Dex just like was unblockable.
Took over.
I mean, he played really well the entire game, no doubt. But that drive,
the interior that entire game, like, I feel like we clearly won the trenches on the interior that entire game. And then on that last play, who did we have on the left tackle? Does anybody remember?
On the left,
who was the rusher we had on the left tackle? Because when I remember watching, it looks like that it looked like that entire top side was like crashing down on Kirk. On the replay is what it looked like.
Might have been.
I can't remember, but I know it was a 4. It was. I think
Kayvon was on the right tackle most of the
time. Yeah, he was.
Right?
I know he was on the right tackle. That's why. Yeah,
it had to be either O'Shane or Jihad.
Either way, pass rush came on. The only unfortunate thing is that not even that. One of my favorite players, Aziz, went down again. Don't know if he's going to be playing. Go ahead.
Aziz has, to a lesser degree, had Kadarius Toney disease, where it's not like it's one nagging injury. He keeps on getting these different little injuries. Like, it's been like 5 in the last second half of the season, and then he missed a lot in the start.
Oh yeah, you're right. This year alone has been like at least 3 or 4, I think.
Well, he got injured in camp. Well, he got injured coming into camp, so he started the camp on what's the the PUP list. He came in on the PUP, I believe, and then he gets re-injured in a preseason game or camp. I can't remember. So he missed the first 2 games. Comes back the Dallas game, gets hurt after the Bears game. Then he comes back and then gets banged up again, and then another banged up. Before in the Commanders game, and then they rested him. And then he got hurt again. It's like Aziz has a little bit of the Kadarius Toney disease, where it's like
crazy because
it's not one injury, it's just a bunch of little nagging ones.
I've heard things, and it kind of makes a little sense. It may be that he put on so much muscle and weight too quickly, maybe because he looks just jacked this year, and I don't know if that may have been a
better
problem.
Player too this year.
He looks a lot stronger. He looks a lot more explosive, but maybe that's the only thing I could point to because. I mean, I know he had injury problems in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, but he seemed to be pretty healthy in his rookie year, no?
Yeah, he didn't miss a single game. I don't think he even had – maybe he did.
I thought there was an injury problem that kept
on draft night, they said there was something.
Yeah.
That made him fall, but I didn't think – that's where I had him in the draft was there. But yeah, it's been frustrating. But supposedly it's what is it, a quad bruise this week? Something so hopefully he gets back and hopefully he can finish the game.
Yeah. Let me getting back to this Minnesota game. We do need everybody this week, and we're gonna get to the Eagles. I think that's the third topic on deck tonight. Getting back to the Minnesota game real quick. We held Jefferson in check. We kind of let Hawkinson do his I wouldn't say we let him, but he was the guy that ended up going to try and kill us.
The Giants pretty much said, we're going to allow Hawkinson to get all the yards and stuff like that because he's not going to beat us. It's going to be Justin Jefferson. So they kind of focus on Jefferson. They had McKinney.
Well, Justin Jefferson was the one that basically beat us last time. They went to him. They spammed in that entire drive.
They pretty much, besides the fourth quarter, they pretty much had like McKinney like shouting over top of him while Dory was covering him most of the time. And they were playing a lot of too high too. So yeah, that's what I saw.
Cool. Yeah. Go ahead. Unless
no, I agree. Like KB said, they were playing too high, but they just put in Belton because Pinnock got hurt, and they just let McKinney play man coverage down on Hawkinson. Which
now me and KB, we kind of went over a little bit before you popped in. This people, fans, the quote unquote experts, analysts, even former players that got their takes on Daniel Jones. This kind of petulant need to hold on to, they want to be right so bad. So they're still, I'm just gonna say, they're still hating on him basically. And if you got any thoughts on that, any specific people like Nick Wright, we were like, this man's a clown. Who was the other one, Brandon?
Nick Wright is just a joke. Like it's one thing to have, like, there's people who do analysis and I disagree with him. Nick Wright is just one of those, like, he's a joke. Like he's a TV jester.
Even his co-hosts kind of don't take him seriously.
Who's his co-host?
I don't. I've never watched
retired
players.
Players.
I just see clips.
Me neither.
I don't see any of these guys except for just clips.
He's always the lone wolf. Like the rest of the panel is just always against him, and he always has the most outlandish takes. So, yeah.
I do say, Diggy got a question for you. He says, "What do you think about Bert Coleman's analysis of DJ?" I'm not sure.
By the way, I stole Bert Coleman from Glock Roach. I've been saying it over and over again. I stole that from Glock Roach.
Who is that?
He's like one of the best Twitter follows on Twitter. If you're a Giants fan, you got to follow him, Glock Roach.
No, I know Glock Roach. Glock Roach be in my chat sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Who's Bert Coleman?
Brett Coleman.
Oh,
Brett Coleman.
So I feel bad that I didn't actually watch the Brett Coleman video.
Yeah,
and I'm one of those people that's reading headlines. But I did see some of the. I saw the clips that people were putting on social media about his Giants offense video.
Yeah.
And I saw the big sticking point he had was like, there's plays here or there where DJ can take a shot and he doesn't. Which that I agree with. Like I do the film review every single week. And there's games where it's like, man, there's two plays you got, and like even going back to that first Vikings game, Slayton beat Peterson on a double move or DJ scrambling, and he just doesn't pull the trigger. And I've always said we don't always know the progressions, but offenses don't run double moves for no reason. Like they run double moves to throw them. You're not running double moves all game. But he turned that into, from the clip I saw, Mike Too Nice shared it, just like see, like he's not he sucks, and basically all the success is because of Brian Dable and none of it because of Daniel Jones. When it's like, well, they don't really run a ton of deep concepts because they don't have dudes, And I do think the Giants should, maybe not every single game, but in general, have some more deep concepts, because I always say it's not about guys winning. It's about defenses make mistakes when you test them, right? Because they want to, and for the examples that Brett Coleman showed and I've showed in the film reviews, they can be there at times, but it is only here or there. And the rest of the games, DJ's flawless. Like from start to finish, he does not make mistakes. He gets the right guys. And we shared a stat on a mailbag pod a couple of weeks ago for Daniel Bellinger has the second highest catch rate in the entire NFL, low average depth of target. Richie James, for I think like 6 yards average depth of target, has the highest catch rate in the NFL. Isaiah Hodgins, for 8 yards of average depth, he has either the highest or the second highest in the NFL. And then even Slayton, who gets targeted deep down the field, you look at his 64% catch rate and like, oh, that's nowhere near Hodgins and Richie James 80 and Bellinger's 85. But for where he's targeted, he's like 5th or 6th in catch rate. So DJ is getting the most out of this crew. And the Giants offense, since they've put the ball back in Daniel Jones' hands after that Washington tie and that Philadelphia massacre, that's when the offense has looked its best, because it's Daniel Jones is not making negative plays and it's just keeping the offense on schedule. So listen, I do agree. There's times in games where there's, a couple times in a game you go back and watch film like DJ should have taken the shot here. But I also look at him like they don't have a dude where that's a focus of their offense. And we've seen DJ have the willingness in his past to take those shots. So I do want to see those going forward. Like, I'm not saying you have to draft a wide receiver in the first round, but going forward, you do need to do that. But as they've put the offense more in Daniel Jones' hands, the offense has been better.
100%. It's like we've talked about it before on the show, where at the beginning of the season, you could say like half or 2/3 of the offense was basically Saquon Barkley for like the first 8 and 9 games of the season. But I would say right after Jacksonville, when Saquon, I don't, what do you want to call it? He was getting a little bit of rest, or you want to say he was just tired and they weren't using him as much, but he wasn't nearly as effective as he was in that first 8 or 9 weeks. And then they started letting up on him. They started trusting DJ a bit more and more. You basically started seeing the offense evolve. And that's credit to not only DJ, but Mike Kafka as well. Because I've been notorious on the channel this year. There's been a lot of times where I don't like what Kafka has done, and I've called him out on it. But I've also been very fair and giving this man credit, especially at the end of the season, where I'm like, the offense at the beginning of the year and the offense now looks completely different. And that game he just called in Minnesota, basically most of the games he's called, like I said, the last month and a half of the season have been amazing. I love what Kafka's done. I mean, look at these receiving stats right here from this past game. 8 for 105 and a touchdown. Isaiah Hodgins, 4 for 88 for Darius Slayton. Richie James, 4 for 31. You see what these receivers are now benefiting from with Daniel Jones and some of these plays that are being called. You see the evolution, Bobby, where now Saquon Barkley is probably only like a quarter or maybe a third of the offensive motion, which is a good thing. And what do you think about that?
Well, yeah,
from the beginning to now.
That's why, like, there was a stretch where it was like we were down on Kafka, and it was reasonable. Not because, like we said, after the Commanders tie, we really went in on the offense, and we're like, this has to change because they got figured out. Like, it worked through seven games of the year, and then Seattle kind of put the blueprint out there for
it. They shut Saquon down.
That's when they went on their losing streak, and it was where they were just feeding Saquon, trying to force.
That's also where around that time we got a little bit more injured on the defensive side of the ball too, so the defense couldn't hold up as well either.
But it was to me, it was more on the offense because it got figured out. Like, it wasn't just, teams are stacking the box. They were run blitzing the Giants, and the Giants weren't able to do that. And then the play action, teams were not falling for the play action. Like, the Commanders game was the Commanders tie was the biggest example of it, where they were running play action on like 2nd and 12, and linebackers were not even moving.
Why
would they were getting into their drop before the fake was even there. And it had gotten figured out. And you even look at the Texans game. Like, the Texans game, we came on that podcast and we were pissed because, like, DJ averaged 11 yards per attempt. Every time you let him, like, people, like, remember Saquon got 35 carries and people were like, it worked. It's like, no, it didn't. Look at all the drives they scored. It was all passing that got them down the field.
Right.
And they got figured out. So after that Eagles game when they got blown out, I don't even count that as a real game because, it just got out of control. And, the Washington game, they just started going into the shotgun drop back passing, and drop back passing is one of those things where, you can figure out one part of it, but there's going to be other options. And I know I'm getting long-winded, but also another option is Isaiah Hodgins, not some great wide receiver, but he has been a godsend for the Giants team because now we have three guys we can trust. Before Isaiah Hodgins showed up, who was starting at wide receiver for us? Marcus Johnson.
I saw him out there
I forgot about Marcus Johnson.
I saw him out there in the Vikings game. I said, what is this guy doing on the field?
You know what he's doing because he's fast? Watch it.
Clearing out.
I'm surprised teams haven't picked up on it. Anytime he's in the game, they're going to go under center play action, and he's clearing it. He's going to run
clearing out
every single time.
They always do that. Then they have that crossing route to Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
I see that all the time.
So it's basically that's been the meat and potatoes of it.
Before you go, KB, I just want to say this real quick. I've noticed this as well because I catch like one of these shows every now and then when I'm at home. Yeah, everybody in the mainstream, like, expert analysts, quote unquote, they all think Brian Dable calls the plays, and I'm like, it's not like we're keeping it a secret. They've let it know since before the season started that Mike Kafka is the one calling plays. But okay, man, sure, you guys do your research and whatever before you go on these shows. Go ahead, KB.
Yeah, but I was saying, and that was a good point that you brought up, Kush, about Saquon Barkley kind of not relying on him as much, because that's something that we talked about early on in the season where we were winning games, but I was legitimately concerned that how much we were like running Saquon into the ground, and I was concerned that teams were gonna figure that out sooner enough, and then shut Saquon down, and then what are we gonna do? I'm glad that they finally kicked it into to high gear at the perfect time, and we're able to pass the ball more efficiently. Like Bobby said, Isaiah Hodgins was a complete godsend, and you're seeing a lot of Buffalo Bills fans visibly mad about it right now. One of the bigger Bills YouTubers, I forgot his name right now. I call him like Don Mafia or something like that. He made a tweet about Isaiah Hodgins talking about how the front office missed on him, and they wish they still had him because he's definitely worth a roster spot. And apparently right now they're having some wide receiver trouble. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing from Bills Mafia. I don't know if that's true. Maybe they're just spoiled. Maybe they're just spoiled.
Yeah, it's just that, like, obviously, other than Diggs, it seems like opposing defenses in like the past month or so don't really respect their other receivers, which makes sense.
Which is
to me.
Weird because Gabe Davis is like
Davis is good, but he's not, Diggs.
Bro, he comes down with every 50-50 ball that I've seen, bro. Like, he just does. I don't.
Yeah, I think Bills fans are a little spoiled. The Bills people I follow the most are Cover One. They do great stuff. They are a lot of times like putting out the fires of fandom. So I'm sure there is some issues there, but Gabe Davis is still like a really good player for him. I think he's just kind of underappreciated. We've seen it with it happens with every fan base. There's players who we've underappreciated at times. And then they have a breakout game, and it's like, oh yeah, like, I mean, we got it happening with Kenny Galladay, and Kenny Galladay doesn't deserve it, but we got people now. Maybe you guys are two of them who want Kenny Galladay back out there playing a ton of snaps.
No, I'm good.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was about to bring up Kenny Galladay and what you think about him. Not only because I just passed a tweet on Twitter that talked about, he's talking about his block and he's smiling a lot and whatnot. But then we got Mr. Nova in here saying he's going for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns over Slate, man. Go ahead on Kenny Galladay, man. Where are you sitting with this man right now?
Me? Oh, I don't even hate him. And I think last year he was treated like a total bust of a signing, and he was a good wide receiver for the Giants last year. He was having one of his best years in catch rate with Daniel Jones. He was averaging a good amount of yards. I think it was like 55 yards per game. Nothing crazy, but solid. Like, he was a good wide receiver for the Giants last year in a horrible offense that didn't feature his skill set. This year, man, he's just, I don't know if it was a hip surgery or what. He just can't get off the line of scrimmage. Like, as fun as that touchdown was versus Eagles, and it's a top 5 moment of the season, like, it made me emotional. His catch rate on the year went down. Like, James Bradbury is like running the routes for him at times. I know Bradbury is really good.
He has no burst at all.
Yeah, he's just got no burst off the line of scrimmage anymore. So I don't hate him. I do think I think Kenny Galladay is probably like is embarrassed, right? Like, and when the media is going out to like, look at that good block, he's like, what have I become to where they're talking about?
I know. Yo, I got so like secondhand embarrassment.
I just want to say real quick, I've said it before, and this, I don't know, depending on how I word this, some people might take it offensive, but I feel like they treat Kenny Galladay like he's the sped kid that gets a shot on those, in those basketball teams when they check in. Sped kid and they get a shot, bro.
He shoots the shot and he makes it.
I feel like that sometimes, man.
He has good lines for it when they're like, "Were you surprised when he did that?" He's like, "There's nothing I do that surprises me," which is a great line, but it's like, well, you kind of aren't good anymore, which sucks.
Bro, I got like secondhand embarrassment, man. I was just like, when the Giants posted him, they're like, "That's a great block," right? And they're like showcasing Kenny Galladay's block. I'm like, this is what it's become. This $72 million has become where the Giants, social media page is highlighting Kenny Galladay's block.
Him and Saquon, they got the angry runs of the day award.
It was a great block, but golly.
Well, no play got me more fired up in the game than the Kenny Galladay block. Like,
I know, we were watching it live. I'm like, did you see that block?
Oh my! I got to go back and on the stream and find my clip of that, because that was
that the same play that DJ DJ Stiff Arm Patrick Peterson? Was that the same play?
No,
DJ Stiff Arm Patrick Peterson was earlier.
Oh, okay.
You guys see this?
Oh wow, they did this. I didn't see that.
They got the Angry Runs of the Week award from Good Morning Football.
I've been nonstop today. I can't believe I didn't see that picture.
Just kind of like it's the exact same block we're talking about. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't think Kenny Galladay was really involved in a big way in any other one. But shout out to Daniel Jones.
It was very clearly one nasty ass block that Galladay had. That's what it was.
That DJ got the MVP.
Yeah, I missed that too. I love the Nickelodeon MVP.
But there was no broadcast.
I didn't realize they were doing so. They like when they remember when they first did it. It was that Bears Saints game, and Mr. Trubisky got MVP.
Mr. Trubisky
that was the playoff game, right? That was a walk court.
Yeah, it was. That was the funniest thing in the world to me. And now they made it to where you can't vote for anybody on the losing team. So like it was. I was on Christmas. Who did the Rams beat? Where Baker Mayfield got the MVP, and everyone. Oh, maybe it was. I think it was.
Yeah,
Russell
that was
Wilson.
this year.
We all wanted to vote Russell Wilson for MVP, and they didn't let us. So Baker Mayfield won it.
Yeah, we found a loophole and they shut it down real quick.
Yeah. It was like, of course, the internet took a cool thing for children and made Mitchell Trubisky the MVP in a losing effort.
That was like when this guy, the social media guy, Bob Menery, tried to get everybody to vote Jay Cutler into the Pro Bowl, and they shut it down real quick. He got everybody was voting for him, but he wasn't even recognized to be put in the Pro Bowl that one year.
Remember when Zaza Pachulia was like the starting center for the Western Conference, and that's when they changed the NBA All-Star voting? It's like, okay, we're not going to have Zaza Pachulia starting in the NBA All-Star game.
That's dirty player, man. I hate Zaza with so much passion. Let's get into the next topic. And if you notice, I didn't ask to give me your thoughts on Daniel Jones over the entire course of the year yet, Bob, because it's related to this, right? We had a lot of players with playoff debuts on the Giants specifically. I think almost all of them had a playoff debut. I think
like a Dory.
Yeah, on Minnesota, I think it might have just been Justin Jefferson, and obviously whatever rookie they had. But it was an impressive playoff debut for basically these three guys right here, the three of the main guys the entire year long. And like I said before I played the intro, Bobby, you absolutely got to give me what you've thought about Daniel Jones throughout the regular season, and then what you saw in the postseason, which gave me shades. Maybe I got my blue lenses all on of Eli versus playoff Eli. I don't know. Go ahead.
I got to see it versus the Eagles to compare it to playoff Eli, because playoff Eli took beatings and put in some tight window shit. And I will not apologize for beating the Vikings. They are a good team, but their defense isn't great, and Mike Kafka did call their best game. So and Daniel Jones executed the game plan perfectly. Like, he played amazing. A lot of quarterbacks wouldn't have played like he did, and then he had that throw to Hodgins on the sideline, and his legs. Like, they're not coaching him to be a great great runner. But I gotta like Philly. We play a damn good game versus Philly. Put up 24-20.
Oh, damn.
And that's when it's like we're all in. Like, we're all in. Like, this is comparable to, some playoff Eli. He's got a lot to do in his career to ever be compared to Eli. But
of course. But then over the course of the regular season, would you think, walking into the season, what was your stance on Daniel Jones? At what point during the season? Was it recently? Was it maybe 2 months ago? You start to say, hold up, we got something here. Why does StreamYard keep doing that?
I don't know. It's just like
I'm just gonna leave it there. I guess.
Oh, you were doing it.
No, it's not me. My hands are right here. But go ahead. Yeah, walk us through that process. Where were you at the beginning of the season?
So going into the season, we've always been fair with DJ. After 2019, I was in full bloom love with the cat, and then 2020, it was like, I hate Jason Garrett. Like, I hate him. And it wasn't just. You know how it is. Like, every team hates their offensive coordinator if their offense isn't going well. But it was like put
Jason
together.
Garrett was generational.
One of my favorite videos was basically like why I hate Jason Garrett video, and I took every single argument that people could give to me, and I gave you evidence why that argument was bullshit. And then they didn't fire him. It basically ruined that offseason for me, even though it didn't. But I was like, it's going to be hard for me to get excited with Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. But DJ kind of shined, but he just he wasn't consistent. He'd have a bad game here or there. So coming into the season, I was not one of these people who said Daniel Jones is some bust. He sucks. He's horrible. I was like, he's a solid quarterback, and he's proven that he's a solid quarterback. But being a solid quarterback is not what's going to get him back on the team next year, and not just improving, because we knew he would improve with this offensive system. Also, we thought Kenny Golladay would be at least the same as he was last season. Kadarius Toney was supposed to be a star. Shap, Wandale. The offense was supposed to have better weapons around him. So going into the season, it's like he's going to be better, but it's like, what does he do? And they need to be back. And it's like, he's got to be like top of the league, right? And then we find it's like, well, he's got to win. It's like, you can't be top of the league like in statistical stuff with this roster right now. Right. And we just I hate saying it, but it's like, he's got to win games. Like, you know what? Like, to come back, he's got to win games. And, well, guess what? He's done that. And he's played damn near flawless. And it was, I don't know, maybe around the Texans game or so where I was like, you know what? Like I'm tired of beating around the bush. Daniel Jones is good, right? Like he's good. Okay. He's been consistent. He's had the first 2 games of the season. He was bad. Ever since then, he's been operating this offense flawlessly. He's not making mistakes. He's making the right reads on almost every single play of the game. And even his bad decisions are not like game-changing decisions. He didn't, like, Burt Coleman would say, he didn't take the shot. And sometimes those would end up being like 12, 15-yard gains, Like there's many of those deep shots that, that have been there have turned into like 15-yard gains because he threw it to somebody else or he scrambled. And I think so. It was around that time. It's like, he's good. And then ever since they put the offense in his hands, the offense has been better, much better. And scoring 24 points, 31 points, 31 points. So yeah, I think Daniel Jones absolutely should be back with the New York Giants next year. And if we were doing end of season voting for offensive most outstanding player, he would be second to me after Andrew Thomas. I would put him ahead of Saquon.
Let me get this super chat real quick. Shout out to Tudo for the $5 super chat. As usual, thank you, Tudo, for popping in and supporting. Says massive respects to Kush, KB, Bobby, and all diehard Giants fans in the building. And please slap all stinky Boyd's losers out the front door.
Tudo.
I'm not gonna read the last 2 words, but hard. I'm gonna slap them.
Why are you letting up in this stream? Why are you letting up?
It's kind of a little bit of a pause-worthy statement. I can't lie to you. I'm gonna have to ease it up. There's children watching. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Tudo. Appreciate you, man.
Exactly. But I'm kind of with you, Bobby. Coming into the season, I was a very, very staunch. Right. What's happening?
Well, someone said most outstanding goes to Dex. I said offensive most outstanding player.
Yeah, he said offensive.
Defensive most outstanding goes to Dex. Absolutely.
Yeah, Dex is both Dex and Thomas are all pros.
We do after the season, but anyways.
So what is that like after the Super Bowl? Like.
Yeah, but essentially,
wow.
The like second show after the season, we do our awards show.
This man's literally gonna wait until the Giants get their 5th ring to do that. That's crazy. That's crazy. KB's not a believer, by the way, of the agenda. But look, yeah, going into the season, I was a staunch Daniel Jones defender. It's no secret on this channel for like 2 years. His 3rd year under Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. Yeah, I wouldn't say I lost faith in Jones, more like I lost belief that he could get back to what I thought he could be, which was a lot of what I saw his rookie year, especially when it came to, I thought his rookie year, he was a little bit of a gunslinger, and it seemed like that got almost beaten or coached out of him throughout the tenure from 2020 and 2021. And then coming into 2022, I'm like, you got literally the best available coach on paper that could try and help this player get back to what he could have been, or try and help this player get to the best player he can be. But even, I think I said it several times, I'm like, I don't think there's anything he can do to guarantee a contract next year. And he did prove me wrong. And so did the coaches once again. Like there's credit to go all around there. He did 100% prove me wrong. And I think he's going to be back. And I said in a stream 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, which is why I brought up like the playoff Eli thing, where I was like, if Daniel goes into the playoffs and we win a game, I mean, I think that guarantees like at least a 3-year deal or something. But if we win a couple of games and he looks just like a different quarterback in those games, like how Eli, when he entered the playoffs, everybody knew there's the nickname Playoff Eli for a reason, then at that point, I think we probably have that, what we're looking for, which is a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
KB,
and again, it's hard to make huge statements off of 1 year of good success. And I don't think Daniel Jones is elite. But I hate the way that quarterbacks are talked about, where you're elite or you're trash. Like there are really good quarterbacks who aren't elite. And
or even franchise guys.
That's the word.
Even franchise quarterbacks don't have to be elite.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm confident that he's a franchise quarterback. Now if you want to be like the Chiefs and swing big and like, hey, we got a really good quarterback and a good quarterback in Alex Smith, and which even then I think Daniel Jones is better than Alex Smith. Like Alex Smith had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Remember the Alex Smith streak with the Chiefs and Andy Reid, who's like, he didn't throw a touchdown to a receiver.
Yeah, it was all the tight ends. Yeah. He had like who's that? Bowie, that
Dwayne Bowe.
Yeah, Dwayne Bowe, and
they had a bunch of different guys, which is like not the greatest crew, but
it went on for like a whole season. Like
I think it went over a season long.
Yeah, over a season. That's crazy.
But yeah, so it's this team has got it's a ragtag group of wide receivers. Hodgins has, like you said, Hodgins has been very solid for us, but he's not a dude. You know, and so and his right tackle has been pretty damn bad all year. So yeah, I'm confident that Daniel Jones should absolutely back. I'm not giving him some max contract, like we have to be reasonable. But again, I do think he's a good quarterback. I don't think it's even to be debated anymore.
And KB, where are you after this game? Where are you standing with Daniel Jones? I mean, me and you were already kind of being, he's back, but am I the only person on the panel right now that kind of feels like if he continues this, maybe he's the guy for us? Or
I mean, if we continue winning the playoffs and he's like, okay, that's different. Like you said, if he balls out versus this Eagles team, and I think even if he doesn't ball out, I think we'll come away from this Eagles game with a positive look on Daniel Jones, even if the Giants don't win this game, But if he goes in there and wins, puts up 28, 30 points on this Eagles defense with the pressure they're going to create, with the corners they have, like that's gritty shit and we know he's like this cold-blooded like psychopath where it's just like we don't have to worry about him like falling under the bright lights, right?
Yeah, the bright lights, the mental pressure.
Like that's I went into the Vikings game like I know that win or lose, I got a good feeling I'm going to be really happy with 8 after the game. And I think I go into this Eagles game too. Now, this Eagles game is going to be a lot tougher. It's going to be a lot tougher. The defense is going to have to play better for the Giants to win. But I do think we'll come out of that game happy with Daniel Jones. Unless you just don't want to be happy with him, then you won't be.
There's people that don't. Go ahead, KB.
Yeah, man. Everything that I wanted Daniel Jones to kind of accomplish or achieve this year for me to want him back. Honestly, my standards weren't as high as other people because I was already a supporter of DJ to begin with. But, I really had this sort of metric of stats because I really didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. So I just had a metric of stats and he had to achieve this amount of yards and touchdown, whatever, for me to say, welcome back again. But now that he's taken to the playoffs and putting stats aside, just watching the film and watching the games and watching his impact on the field, it's really hard to deny that he has extremely developed as a quarterback, not only from his rookie year, but just from this season. From the start of the season to now, I think he's developed a lot. And so this tells me that he can only go up from here in Brian Daboll's system. And I think he definitely deserves to be back. I would call him my franchise quarterback right now too. I have no problem saying that. There's a lot of people that still want to see another year out of him, and that's understandable because he only had 1 year of I guess really good quarterback play or decent quarterback play. And so right now where I'm at with Daniel Jones, man, he's my guy. He's my quarterback. So you muted, Bobby.
Well, I'm saying if the coaching staff wants to see more, right? We want to see some of the deep. So you can tag him, right? You don't have to give him some huge.
Right, you can
tag is a crazy amount this year, though, right? It's going to be 45 million, I think it is.
And that's the exclusive.
As exclusive.
It's a 1 year thing. It's gonna be 45 mil. Wasn't it 30 mil last year?
When I looked it up, because somebody said the same thing to me. Somebody said the same thing to me on the call-in show last night.
Apparently, there's an exclusive, and then the non-exclusive is 32 or something like that. Where people.
So it says the 2023 exclusive quarterback franchise tag is 45.248 million.
Oh wow, maybe. All right, maybe I will readjust my take.
It's a lot of money. That's all our
cap space.
You can get I'm not going to say the car contract because I don't even know if I'll tell my head, but a car structure contract track where it's very front loaded.
Now let's go over
I think the Saquon conversation. I don't want to have the Saquon conversation right now. I'm going to wait till the season's over because we're winning and I don't give a shit about contracts right now. Gotcha. But I actually think the Saquon conversation is a lot more complicated than Daniel Jones' contract.
Yeah, because he's going to want around 18, 19 from.
And I'm not giving him that.
Yeah, that is too much. But
that would be a lot of money. But to get to Dexter Lawrence, who's we have the 5th year option on Dexter.
Yeah.
So he technically doesn't need to get paid until next year. But if you pay him now, it means you might pay him less. We don't even have to talk about contracts. This man is having an insane season from the nose tackle position where he's 1 of 1 this year. Absolutely crazy. You got people.
Nobody comes close at nose tackle, by the way.
Yeah, you got people on other teams. You even got Micah Parsons, future Giant, by the way, recognizing him saying, I wouldn't want to go up against Dexter Lawrence. Let me start with you, KB. This man has been he's been a force. I don't know if like he finally reached a period in his physical maturity, or if there's something in his mentality that's different this year, something in the coaching. Maybe it's because he's in that middle of the field or whatever. I mean, middle of the line. Go ahead.
First of all, I mean that's honestly putting him at nose. I was kind of like, oh, he was playing really good at 3-tech, in prior years, but then putting him at nose is a great move. He still lines up at 3. He lines up everywhere. Honestly,
he was a good 3 technique. He wasn't a
right. He was a good one, but obviously his better fit right now is at the nose, and just he's just a complete mismatch over there. His speed or get off at the line is insane for his size. Man, Dex is killing this year. I saw a stat. Don't quote me on this. Maybe Bobby, I don't know if you know this stat, but like apparently when he was lining up at nose, he has like a total of like 29 pressures lined up at nose, and the next person the person, I think it was Raekwon Davis or Christian Wilkins had like 8 from the nose all year.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was like Dexter at 29 or something like that. Like that's an insane number. Like nobody comes close to his production at nose tackle right now. And so I would say like Dexter is a guy that you have to. He's one of those staple guys you have to keep around. He's just like Chris Jones in Kansas City. Like Chris Jones is a guy you got to keep in there in Kansas City. Dexter Lawrence has to be a guy you keep here in New York. It's time to end us letting go of really good defensive tackles. Linville Joseph, Dalvin Tomlinson. I liked Hankins a lot, and I don't know if everybody else did. I really like Jonathan Hankins. We let him go. The list goes on and on of defensive tackles we like. BJ Hill. I mean, I just want to keep a good defensive tackle. I'm tired of drafting these guys in 2nd and 3rd rounds, and then they're good, and then we let them go.
Well, Dexter was a first-round pick, so maybe that makes it different. Guy.
This is a guy that we got to keep around.
Yeah, I definitely and what Dex does is repeatable because Dex does it every single week. It's not like he's had 4 good games where the stats all pile up. So yeah, after the season, like it's like, okay, let's sign Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence and get it done, because it's just going to get more and more expensive the longer you wait. Like those are 2 deals those are 2 deals that I would be shocked if they don't get done in the offseason.
Thank you, by the way. Like, I feel like that's the smartest thing to do. I brought it up on Just Chilling last week, and people were like, no, let's save that cap space and use it to get somebody else. But I'm like, why would you do that? These guys are performing at the top of their game, and they're not even in their physical primes yet. Dex and Andrew, I feel like wouldn't even enter their primes until like 2 years from now.
I feel like people don't understand that when you pay these guys now, like or get contracts for them now, they're not being paid that amount next year. Like they're still on their rookie deals.
Yeah.
So people think that our $58 million in cap space is going to go to AT and Dex. That's not the case. It's going to apply when their rookie contract is up. So I feel like they don't understand that. So I'm all for getting a contract working right now for AT and Dex.
Absolutely insane stat. This doesn't include the Monday night game because this stat was compiled before Monday night, but throughout wildcard weekend up until Monday night, so every single game up until then, Dexter had 8 pressures on 38 pass rushes and finished with the highest grade pass rush of 86 of any interior defender. And then the player in second place was Leonard Williams. Like, these guys were feasting on the inside. And then it's just going to get better. I agree with you, Bobby. It's repeatable because we're seeing it on a week-to-week basis, but I think it could be repeatable on a year-to-year basis because the better that Kayvon gets, the only more attention they're going to have to put on Kayvon because you're just so much more deadly from an edge position. So Dexter's going to get even less on the inside.
Well, and that's what I mean when it's repeatable is because like it's week in, week out where a guy can have a season where he puts up a lot of good numbers off of like 4 or 5 games and he's not consistently doing it every single week, which happens to the defensive tackle spot and it doesn't make them bad players. It's just it's a hard position.
The consistency.
Yeah. So I think I don't want to give all the credit to Andre Patterson. Dex is the guy who's going out there and doing it, but Andre Patterson is like the most well-respected position coach on the team in the D-line, and he's been around for a long time. And everyone talks about how great he is, and I think he has totally made a difference for Dex.
Killing it. I seen Leo watching the film in this last game, and it's just like this one play is just the epitome of like the I guess impact that Leo and Dex can have on the interiors. Like in the beginning of the game, Dalvin Cook takes a handoff, and the floodgates look like they're open, and Dexter Lawrence hits Bradbury, which is the meanest block shed, and Leo on his knees. Both of them combo tackle Dalvin Cook, and the momentum it's like he runs into a brick wall. Dalvin Cook couldn't even get in any push after that. It was insane, bro.
Was that the first run of the game? Like I
believe so. I believe the timestamp is 1:30, so I would think it's like one of the first runs of the game.
Yeah. I think that was the first play of the film review this week was like, hey, look at these two dudes just dominate.
Insane, man. Dalvin Cook couldn't get any push. He's just like he was met there and boom, that's it. He was done. So that's just the epitome of what Leo and Dex is in the interior for us, man.
Yo, before we go on to Saquon real quick, not contract talk, but the playoff debut, because he's somebody
that's talking about contracts. I'm tired. We got the whole all off season to talk contracts.
Exactly. Yeah. Did y'all see that picture of Daniel Jones that went viral? Like, this was during the game. Everybody saw his neck, and they're like, I feel like it's just because we're Giants fans and not fans, but we also focus on the team more because we have content to make for the team. Like, we've known over the past 2-3 years he's thrown on a lot of weight, that he's a gym rat. Like, it was funny for me to see everybody on Twitter freaking out and be like, yo, when did this man build up so much muscle? Y'all see that?
I didn't see that picture, but I know after his rookie year, he like added like 50
it was like right after his rookie year, he got in the gym and got bulked.
That was after his girlfriend broke up with him. That's,
I'm telling you, that's the reason. Nobody's listening to me, bro. Heartbreak can change a man.
He went in the gym, bro, and he
changed him. Do you know how hard it is?
He said, down bad, now I'm up.
With no motivation. I guarantee you, that man was going in the gym purely off of angst, anguish, and loneliness, and it paid off.
Any other player, I'd say that, but Daniel Jones is just like every single person you talk to, he doesn't matter. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Saquon, though,
and David Sills follows him around the country while he does it too.
Yeah, what happened to him? What's his name? That guy, Alex Bachman. Is he still unsigned?
He's on the he was on the Texans practice squad.
Yeah, not Texans practice.
Got you. Yeah, Saquon Barkley. There's some people out there that call this man a mascot, but he still finished, I think, with close to or over 100 all-purpose yards, right? And whenever he got the ball in space, I don't know if the Vikings just didn't pay attention to him. And even when he did get the ball and there was a defender there, he looked so explosive this past game. Love the way Saquon looked.
Here's the thing: is they did key on him a lot, and it created space for other players on the field. Yeah, and that's what Saquon is not a workhorse back. Like he's just not. Like that's never going to be his style. It worked for some games in the start of the year, but overall through his career, that's not what he is. He is a playmaker. So, even I saw people. We scored 3 touchdowns in the first 3 drives, and I had people saying we got to get Saquon more involved. I was like, what are you talking about? Like this offense is perfect right now.
I love that Saquon is not the focal point right now. Like
maximize his every touch. Be a superstar. Make guys miss on your every touch. That's what we want. We don't need to be workhorse, and that's what Saquon Barkley did. He made the most out of every single opportunity that he got. He made guys miss in the run. He made cuts in the run, like on that first touchdown, and then in the pass game, making guys miss, and then just his speed, his just flat out athleticism, creating big plays. That's what I want out of Saquon. I don't need 25 touches for Saquon Barkley. I need every touch for him to be able to make plays, and that's what Saquon was able to do, and it's what he's been able to do for a few weeks now since they've put the offense more in Daniel Jones' hands.
Love the outside run designs that they're getting for him. Like that's just his bread and butter, man. He thrives off of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw someone in the chat, bookend tackles, make it that touchdown. The second touchdown was just like that was. Bad.
Oh my God, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Tomlinson got ran the hell over,
dude.
My God,
Saquon has powerlifting records for a reason, man.
If I could get the mic'd up of any part of that game, it's like I want to see what Saquon said to Dalvin after he stood up and stood over him, because everybody loves Dalvin, so I want to know what that conversation was for that 5 seconds.
I don't know what Saquon said to him, but I got to catch his interview. I don't know if it was the post game or one of the ones they put out today, and he's like a couple plays later when Dalvin got to run stuff, he let him know back or something like that. Dalvin let him know that I can't stop you or something along those lines. But I was surprised he was chirping to Dalvin like that. I was like, I thought you guys would have been, maybe better friends or whatnot, but it makes sense.
Well, when you're friends, you're rivals. Yeah, that's when you're friends, you're rivals. Like you're bigger rivals when you're enemy or when you're opponents. Yeah.
Shout out to Tudo once again. He says, Big Boss Kush, if you recall, I've been telling it's all about the management, coordinators, position coaches, the players are just prospects or just prospect projects. I do remember too, though, you used to use the analogy of a chef having all the ingredients, but he can't make the meal, and you were correct. Let's get to the next topic here, and it is this upcoming game. Now, Jalen Hurts, I think, was officially taking off of the Eagles injury report or something like that. So,
unfortunately,
he's technically supposed to be completely healthy. And obviously, I think that was probably the biggest thing we were looking at going into this game. But, Bobby, let me start with you. How are you feeling looking at this game? How do you think we match up with the Eagles? I think we all agreed earlier on. It's not going to be what that was, it week 14 or week 15 game was. It's not going to be that.
No, it won't be that. I mean, we didn't have Adoree', McKinney, or even Leonard Williams in that game, and those three guys do make a huge difference. And you can look at that score and see big. Well, guess what? Those guys can make 3 plays that end 3 drives, right? Like the Julian Love whiff on that 4th down. Even the first drive of the game, they got the 3rd down like 2 or 3 times, and they just were able to convert. You know, Devontae, like I actually think Adoree' might line up on Devontae Smith because Devontae Smith is like that quicker chain moving type guy, and Adoree' can get them off schedule like that. And then you can kind of give help over the top on AJ Brown and just trust Adoree' on Smith. So I think those 3 guys will make a huge difference. But the interior of the Vikings offensive line is horrible. The Eagles interior offensive line is great. You know, their D-line is nasty. It's one of the nastiest D-lines ever. Like, they have 4 10-plus sacks guys for Fletcher Cox. Like, they are nasty up front. I think Darius Slay's a little overrated, but he's still a good corner. And James Bradbury is their best corner. I don't need to tell Giants fans what James Bradbury is.
He's having a career year this year.
Yeah. So, like, as much as Hodgins emerged, like, James Bradbury, his skill set goes up against guys like Hodgins. Like, it really does. So, but I still think Slayton can make some plays on Darius Slay, and he's done that in his career. So is Kenny Galladay, because Darius Slay, I think, it was a little overrated. So it's going to be tough. Like, and Evan Neal scares me going up against this front. It's going to be very, very tough. But it's a different Giants team that faced the Eagles, a month ago or what it was. The offense has just changed, not just playing better, but like they've changed their offense, and you have 3 key players on the defense back. So I don't think the Giants are going to win this game if they score 20 points. I think they're going to have to score like 27, but it is winnable. And I hope we pressure Jalen Hurts. Like, we got to pressure Jalen Hurts.
What do you think about Mr. Cordell Flott? #fear the Flott.
Dude, so it's only we don't see him a ton, but he is fun to watch. Like, you see the ability there. He's got to beef up if he wants to play the run, because we also seen him get bullied like by blocks on the outside.
Wasn't he like 180 or something when he got drafted, or 175?
I think it was like 170 or something. Like, he was small. Yeah. But he is springy, man. He he pounces out of his back pedal. Like, he is a fun corner to watch.
Great wingspan too. He's very lanky.
Yeah, he's long too. So, you could even put him on, and he's played on the outside, like where you could never put a guy like Darnay on the outside. I don't think Aaron Robinson belonged on the outside, even though they put him out there.
Thank you.
Like, we've drafted a slot corner in the mid rounds 3 years in a row. Flott was the only guy where I was like, I can see him possibly succeeding on the outside. Robinson and Darnay. Darnay definitely not. Robinson, I didn't want to have him out there. So Flott, man, I'm not making any big proclamations of what he's going to be next year, but he is like a keep your eye on type player next year.
I always thought when we got him, mostly because of the size, and I think
he's young too. He's like 20 years
he's
old.
Young. I always thought like maybe he's somebody they would just want to develop in house and see how it becomes next year. KB, what do you want to pick up on that point, or maybe get to the Eagles? Go ahead.
Flott, I mean, like Bobby said, he doesn't get a lot of playing time because obviously you got Moreau out there who's been decent for us, Adoree', and then you got Darnay in the slot. But when Flott is playing, I mean, he balls out. Like, look at that 3rd down play, man, where he was He didn't see the ball at all. He used his instincts and DB skills, what he was trained to do. As soon as you see the wide receiver's eyes light up and his hand go up, you put your arm in there, and that's what he did on that third down play against Osborne. And that was a great. He was lined up to pretty much fail on that play because he's like shaded outside. KJ Osborne gets a free release inside on that crossing route. He had that makeup speed was great. Threw his arm in there and knocked the ball out on third down, man. And that was a great play to watch. Great play to watch. So I'm confident in his development next year. We'll see what happens.
I wish he could just play in the slot right now. The issue is Darnay.
He makes a tackle a game. Darnay makes a couple of good tackles a game. That's probably why they keep him in there, honestly.
Yeah, nickel corner is a very big part of the run game in today's NFL.
Yeah.
Like you got to be able to play the run well. So that could be part of it. Also, coaches, it's hard to play young players. Like it's just
especially in the playoffs. Like just throw them in there.
But I just wish we'd like every time there's a passing play, we could just transpond Cordell Flott onto the field for Darnay Holmes.
Right.
With the Eagles matchup here, though, KB, let me hear your thoughts.
The Eagles matchup.
And do you agree with is this possibly the best team in the league we're facing, or does that title belong to somebody else?
Best team in the league? I don't know, especially towards the end of the Eagles season. I know it was because Jalen Hurts was out and they had Gardner Minshew in, but they definitely looked beatable, especially going back to the end of the game with the Giants. I know, like, guys, I know our third stringers didn't have a better chance of beating the team than our starters did. But
our third stringers still they played a great game, man.
I'm not gonna I don't know. The Chiefs look really good right now. Patrick Mahomes is on a tear right now, so I would kind of refrain from saying they're the best team in the league. I don't think they're the best team in the league, but with the Eagles right now, I don't see. Listen, I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible here. Okay,
I think they're the most talented team in the league.
They're definitely the most talented team, and they have the best depth probably in the NFL, right? Look at their D line. They've got like second stringers that could be starters, right? They got guys rotating in there, Hassan Reddick in there, Josh Sweat. You got a good rotation going on in there. They're gonna be coming at you, and they feel like underdogs right now. I don't know why. There are a lot of Eagles fans. I don't know, the Eagles media, they feel like they're because people are giving the Giants a chance. They feel like underdogs a little bit, and you know what it's like when the Eagles feel that way. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm trying to be as optimistic as we can, but they're aggressive, man. Like Bobby said with Evan Neal, he is a big concern, especially and our interior too. I mean, Mark Lewinsky hasn't been garbage as of recently.
Yeah, the last 4 games he hasn't been horrible like he was.
Right, he's been
Eagles
better.
D-line can make anybody look garbage.
Exactly. So I'm really worried for that right side of the offensive line. So we'll see what happens. Daniel Jones has been doing a good job kind of like escaping the pocket, manipulating the pocket, kind of feeling pressure more recently than the beginning of the season. So that's something I like. But as far as from the Giants offense versus the defense, man, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to move the ball, in my opinion, with the receivers we have and their secondary. He just got to use
his legs a ton.
He's got to use his legs a ton. I'm excited to see. We didn't have Hodgins last game, right?
We did. He wasn't as featured as much in the offense, but we did have him.
Okay, so he did have him. I'm interested to see what his production will be like, because they're getting him involved more than ever. I mean, 8 receptions for 105 yards in a playoff game is just. I mean, that's a lot of targets and production from Hodgins. So I'm anxious to see how they utilize him versus Bradbury or Slay, whoever he lines up on. But I'll be honest, man, I have a hard time seeing how the Giants can pull this one off. But hey, stranger things have happened. So
let me ask you about specific position matchups then. Our wide receivers, 6th round pick Isaiah Hodgins, 5th round pick Darius Slayton, 7th round pick Richie James.
Yo, that's crazy. That is crazy. All late round picks.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Well, what do you see in that matchup? How do we succeed there?
Richie James has to be a chain mover. Like that's it, because we can't just rely on like Bradbury's skill set goes against a guy like Hodgins. And Slayton we need Slayton to be a playmaker, but it's hard to put
Slayton can get a couple catches on Slay. We've seen him do it.
Yeah, we've seen him do it. So Slayton has to be a part, and we need Slayton. And that's why, Dable at the end of the game being like, "We need you." Like the Giants truly do need Darius Slayton. He goes off the field and makes this offense look a lot worse. I'm not. Daniel Jones just has to use his legs, and Richie James has to be a chain mover. Like DJ's got to have to be able to put trust in Richie James to get ahead of get ahead of schedule, where we can get the ball into second and two. Be able to have the trust in Richie, so we don't get into these sacks where it is 2nd and 15 or 3rd and 12, because we get into those situations versus the Eagles, and you can kiss it goodbye.
What about the X factor, Mr. Golladay?
His 5 reps of blocking, I hope he blocks the shit out of Darius.
It's fine. Yeah, I just to get off a tangent a little bit, I really don't understand why people thought that we should use Kenny Golladay more just because he caught a touchdown on Darius Slay in that. I don't even know if you call that an actual exhibition game, but that's neither here nor there. But is there any, like, it kind of sounds weird me pumping up this Eagles team that we're about to face, but is there any like clear weakness that the Eagles have right now? Like I'm mostly talking like defensively. Like where is something that we could attack? Because it really just seems like you look at their D line, look at their linebackers who may be the weak link, and their secondary is just good, like really good. What's his name? Gardner Johnson is back in the mix. I don't think we played him last time.
No.
So he's back in the mix. And then you have those 2 good corners. I mean, where's their weakness on the defense?
You can push on them a little bit in the run game. And don't take this as me wanting run the ball 25 times.
Mm-hmm.
But you can push on them a little bit in the run game and try and create explosives there. I mean, their weakness, they don't really have like a huge weakness. Like you even let's talk about their run defense. It's not some horrible run defense. Like the Giants' run defense is much worse than the Eagles' run defense. It's just like the weakest link of a great team. Really, it's not weak. You kind of have DJ's just got to make the most of every opportunity, and his legs are going to have to be a huge thing and extending drives, because it's not going to be like they're not going to give you the same space the Vikings gave you.
Right.
So the next one, can Dexter Lawrence send Jason Kelce into the retirement home? Yes or no? I think yes.
I hope so. Jason Kelce's small. No, Jason Kelce is really good, but I want to see Dex dominate him. And I mean, Dex got a sack on Landon Dickerson, who's been a really good guard for them this year too. So Dex can go up against anybody. The thing about Kelce that he's good at is that you can win against him, but he's going to work leverage against you. So it's like, oh, okay, you won, but you won in the place that he wanted you to be. So that's what I worry about with Kel. And they just are great. He's great at setting the protections. Like, you're not going to get free rushers.
Right.
They're not going to make mistakes. If we're talking about their offense, Malata has not been great this year. And Kayvon actually had success against him in that first matchup. So Kayvon would have to get some there. And even Aziz looked good against Lane Johnson when he played. So hopefully Lane Johnson's a little more banged up. I really think you got to try and pressure Jalen, right? Like that.
You're saying that the right tackle might not play.
Lane Johnson. Yeah. I hope not. I mean, he's one of the best right tackles in the game, if not the best. So we'll need Aziz Ojulari out there because he did win some reps for him.
What was his injury status?
He's limited. I think he's going to play. It's just
okay.
I do have
will he play and will he leave the game? This
is not necessarily for to say that everybody on this list is not going to play. It's just that on their injury report they had a lot of players with rests, and some Giants fans kind of funnily enough are taking it was like, yo, they're suspecting us so much, they're resting so many players. But Brandon Graham, he rested. He had an illness as well. Avonte Maddox had a toe. James Bradbury rested. AJ Brown rested. Fletcher Cox rested. Landon Dickerson rested. Lane Johnson has a groin injury. Jason Kelce rested. Robert Quinn has a back injury. Darius Slay rested. Josh Sweat rested. And Linval Joseph had a calf injury. That was their injury report.
That's another thing, man. Their rotation is insane. That they have Sue and Joseph in there.
Linval Joseph's not good though. Like he's
not good, but they have a rotation. It's like when guys, if someone were to get hurt or someone's fatigued, like they just throw you in there. Like they don't have to put in a freaking practice squad, dude. You know, but what's the injury status of Avonte Maddox?
I think
because he's their starting slot, isn't it?
If he's not there, then no, he was there. It says toe injury, did not practice.
Ooh,
okay, so that will be big for us if Richie James, yeah. Yeah. So I think that's something that we have to attack. I don't know who their backup corner is, but Vontae Maddox is pretty decent. So we'll see if we can work something with Richie James there.
So let me ask you on the flip side, KB, going to you, how can the Giants defense do anything against when Jalen Hurts is healthy, a very explosive offense?
Well, I would say pressure. Just get the same thing that we did. I know Jalen Hurts obviously is way better with his legs than a Kirk Cousins was, but we talked about how much of an impact Dexter Lawrence made, with Kirk Cousins having to dump the ball off on 4th down because he was screaming, on the interior. We have to be able to pressure Jalen Hurts to make errant throws, to just check the ball down or do all those things, because we know AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins even have the ability to get open downfield. We have to get to Jalen Hurts faster than those receivers can get open downfield, and force Jalen Hurts to play the short game, force them to try to play the short game. So we're gonna have to bring pressure. Now the thing is,
does that mean though blitzing a lot?
That's what I was going to get to. The thing is, they have such a good offensive line. You're going to have times where you lose on those blitzes because, Wink likes to blitz those safeties. He likes to blitz the corners. So, as soon as you blitz a safety or a corner, the quarterback's eyes light up, and that's just a hole right there.
I think we actually didn't blitz that much this past Sunday.
We didn't.
We haven't blitzed much a ton lately. Sunday we didn't blitz barely at all.
Right.
Yeah, you can't go into this Eagles game trying to play soft shell, because Jalen Hurts is a much different quarterback than he was last year.
Right.
Like he's not. Does he have great surroundings? Absolutely, but he's also operating that offense damn near perfect. I know he's banged up now, but before he was banged up, or he might not even be banged up now. So you got to pressure him, and you got to press up on these guys, because they're too good to just sit back, because they will take. Jalen is great at putting the ball around and getting it in the right spot if you're going to sit back and play zone. So you got to press these cats up. You can't play them the way you did the Vikings. And the Vikings game plan wasn't even good, honestly. We just had a great offensive game plan. I
don't know about you, Wally. I hate when this team plays zone. I really do. And I feel like Wink is so stubborn. He'll play like a soft, like quarters defense and still blitz people and leave just a bunch of gashes in the middle of the field. Like he had literally – I saw a play, Darnay Holmes and Landon Collins on an island in the middle of the field because he was playing like quarters and then blitzing a safety. I'm like, man, like you're so stubborn. Just stop doing that, because you had Adam Thielen getting behind them. Yeah.
You got to Dory back. Take advantage of him. Let him trust him to shut down a side of the field, and you can give some help over the top. Whether it's Moreau on AJ Brown, or if they put Moreau, I really would consider putting a Dory on Devontae Smith. Because
it's faster, right? The speed matchup.
Devontae has, when we played them last, I haven't looked at the numbers yet. He had the same amount of catches as AJ Brown. AJ Brown just had a lot more yards. Devontae Smith is what keeps that offense on schedule. AJ Brown keeps that, gets that offense in the end zone and creates big plays. Right. Smith is what keeps them on schedule. And that's what we need to do against this Eagles. We're not going to go out there and dominate them. We need to get them off schedule, and I think that's the way to do it.
Right. Create mistakes.
Yeah. Are you taking anything like Riminator might be suggesting here from them resting so many players, or no?
I think it's good for them.
Yeah, I think it's good. And this is why I don't know. It can go either way.
Got you. And then Diggy now saying to win, we need the Eagles to make mistakes. How mistake-free has this Eagles team been throughout the season? They have to have been relatively mistake-free, so I'm not sure if that's something we could even count on.
I don't believe they turned the ball over much, if I'm not mistaken. But
here's the thing, playoffs are a different animal, though, man. And that's the thing is, okay, Jalen's been great. Playoffs can change a dude. So let's see what Jalen can do in the playoffs. But yeah, Jalen has played mistake-free football all year.
And this
I think he has the second lowest interception rate in the year on the season after DJ.
And defensively, they lead the league in not only sacks but interceptions as well. So that's something that we have to be mindful of. Obviously, Daniel Jones has been taking care of the football well, but we should definitely be mindful of that.
I want to know. I don't know how to look this up, and I wanted to do it after the season. I want to know if there's ever been a team other than the Giants this year that had the least amount of interceptions on both sides of the ball, because that's what the Giants did this year. They had the least amount of interceptions on offense and defense this season.
That's true. We got to ask Justin on that. Justin will probably figure it out.
I don't know how to look that up. So.
Yeah.
Someone send it to me. I'll Venmo you $5 so I can turn that into a tweet.
Easiest $5 ever.
Someone's just gonna send me a DM lying. I'm like, all right, my Venmo.
Yeah. It was 1963.
So before I move on to the last topic, did you guys see how high the ticket prices have soared for the Giants versus Eagles divisional game? It just reinforces the idea that when the Giants are good, it's better for the NFL.
I felt bad for one of my followers because on Twitter he responded to a tweet about the Eagles and he's like, "Let's Giants fans, let's take over Philly," and that reply had 70 replies, 80 quote tweets of being like, "You fucking dumb bitch,
you idiot,
you are not taking over Philly."
Who did that? Who tweeted?
It was just some random guy. He was like, he was just hyped up. He was just like, "Hey, let's get in there, Giants fans. Let's take over that stadium." And Eagles fans were
trying to start a civil war.
How dare you? How dare you think that you guys have the ability to do that? Which is true. The Giants fans don't have the ability to do that. Eagles fans.
I was desperately trying to get it where I really wanted Seattle to win, because if Seattle won, we won, and Tampa won, the game would be in Tampa, and I would have definitely went to that game, and we would definitely win that game. I don't know if I could say expletives here, but screw the Bucks. We would have beat them, and we would have moved.
But I don't think I've ever heard you say it in real life. I'll be honest.
Huh?
I don't think I've ever heard you say it.
Listen, man, I've been more vocal.
Here's the thing: is I would rather play the Eagles over the Cowboys and 49ers.
Explain why.
The 49ers are they're way too I think they would just dominate us in the run.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, the Giants, they're just so talented. And I know that they choke in the playoffs, but they choke in playoffs against teams that are have similar talent. Right now, their talent is I think it's just too much for the Giants in key spots. And they basically have run the ball at will on the Giants. They get outside the tackles. So Dex and Leo, you guys can do all you want. They get outside the tackles and move. I know that Thanksgiving game was close at halftime, but I don't know. I just would rather face the Eagles than either of those two teams. But we're gonna have to face one of those two teams when we beat the Eagles, so it doesn't really matter.
Got you. By the way, ticket prices have soared as high as $9,000, and the average ticket price is around $1,000 for the second most in a divisional game ever.
What's the lowest?
There are some. The lowest ticket price I think is $350 or something around that.
That's brutal.
So yeah, let's get into
that was kind of right around somebody was saying that if the Bucks game happened, because I was looking into it, I was like, yo, I'm going to this Bucks game if they go to the Buccaneers. And somebody said the ticket price would be around like $270 lowest price too. So I guess that's not that bad, but yeah.
You might as well just buy a ticket and come up to the watch party on Saturday.
All right. Damn, man. You're enticing me, Bobby. You're enticing me.
KB can't go because he's in Florida Hub. Are you going to be there?
No excuse, Kush. You said I had no excuse.
I was literally going to say, if KB is streaming the game like we did last week, then I'm going to be on stream with my friend like we were last week because of superstitions.
You're going to use me as a scapegoat?
No, it's not even. You guys know I'm very superstitious, bro. We did that hangout stream on a whim, and it worked. So I'm just saying, man.
Here's what we'll do is we'll be on the stream. So you can jump on the stream for a couple minutes. We'll call KB for a couple minutes and be like, all right, you guys streamed. We win, and Kush is at the watch party.
Look at that.
Can you guarantee that?
Loopholes.
No.
Can you guarantee? There you go.
No.
It was very enticing for a second. It was very, very enticing for a second.
John Boyd meeting people like, what the fuck are they doing right now?
Give us your shrink key.
And the last topic. This one, Bobby, brace yourself. It's going to be a weird intro. All right. KB's already used to this at this point.
Oh, okay.
The NFL hasn't seen Mr. Playoff D in the playoffs yet. Playoff D being Daniel Jones. Playoff Daniel. Dirty Dan. It's all coming back. They ain't never seen dual threat Danny come in the playoffs and go to another level. I feel like if he goes in the playoffs and he is different, because there are bro, we saw with Eli, obviously. I'm not making no Eli Manning comparisons. Not just in football.
Yes.
Not just in football. In almost every sport. There's dudes when they hit the playoffs, it's like they're completely
It's like a light
different.
switch. It turns
completely different. So I feel like, you know what, this playoff game, you know, that we may or may not have is gonna tell a lot. Playoff say and do some of his thick legs and run over some grown men. You never seen playoff sexy Dexy handle 2 grown men in each hand and bulldoze them.
They called me a man.
Bobby left, I think.
Bobby said, "What the fuck is this?"
No. Yo, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, it says device is not connected, but even then, that's hilarious. Bobby, it says device is not connected. I can't add you back. He says, bring me back. There he is. For context,
I was in there. You did playoff say. Then I was like, all right, I gotta mess with him and jump backstage.
I was like, hold up, bro. I was like, hold up for a second. But that was when 2 weeks ago I made a video talking about us having a Super Bowl agenda, and it paid off so far. So far, so good. But Super Bowl agenda. Do you believe in miracles, Bobby Skinner?
I do, but I think I agree with what you said in that video. For at least 3 seconds of it, where it's like some dudes just have like that switch in their brain that in the playoffs they just turn their game up and they get it. And I do think Daniel Jones is one of those guys. And I thought that before the last game too.
Got you. Now, Kid Blue, you were somebody that you didn't even like last week on the show when we did a like basically pick them through the NFL playoffs, and you didn't like that I ended with the Giants winning the Super Bowl over the Chiefs.
You or R0B, because you guys didn't even explain anything. Like, you were just like, Giants win the Super Bowl. I'm like, can you explain? You're like, because this team beat this team, so this team's going to beat this. Bro, you got to explain. He was comparing rosters to teams that we weren't even facing. Like, what are you talking about? So, listen, I like to have optimism. The Giants are my team. Obviously, I want to see them win the Super Bowl, but I'm a realist at the end of the day. There's no merit to me saying the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl unless it happens. If it happens, boom. You know, I'm rooting for them. But like this Eagles game is going to be tough. Then we beat the Eagles, and then we either have to face the Niners or the Cowboys, which Bobby said himself that he'd rather face the Eagles than the Niners or Cowboys, and we would have to face one of those teams in the championship. And then after that, we got to go to the Super Bowl, which would probably be Kansas City or Cincinnati or Buffalo, and we got to beat them. So listen, I'm all for miracle seasons. You know, 2007, 2011 were miracle seasons. So it's something that the Giants organization has embraced and has seen time and time again. So I'm just going to sit back and watch it. I'm not going to be rah-rah, about it, but I'll be rooting for them, and I'll just wait and see what happens. That's it. I just can't. There's not a logical thing I can make up.
If we beat the Eagles, you don't think we could just go all the way?
Man, listen, I'm X's and O's guy, bro. Like, you got to tell me how we're gonna beat these teams. Like, and like, what are we going to do? Determination, hope, faith.
You know how we're gonna beat them? You know how we're gonna beat them? I'll tell you right now. We're gonna beat them our way. Right?
Yeah.
That's the New York Giants playoff slogan. Our way.
You know what's crazy?
Like that slogan?
I like it, but I think another team said our way too. Which team was that? There was another team that put our way as well, and I was like, "Oh,
you might be imagining that."
No, for real. It was another team that said our way.
I don't know how I feel about it because
Jacksonville. I think it was
I'm not sure where it comes from.
I think it was Jacksonville when they won that game.
Diggy had a great point. Said we're going to beat them being smart, tough,
and dependable. There you go.
Listen, I'm not somebody to judge, but it's not going to take any regular Joes to beat this team.
Oh my God, who said that? That was somebody said that.
I think it was Ryan Clark. that said that.
It was Ryan Clark. It was Ryan
Clark.
Clark.
We're not going to come in here with any guru scheme. We're going to play
more tough and dependable.
What was the? I forgot the rest of the Joe Judge line.
The guys, listen. The guys in that locker room, they're not thinking about their vacations. You don't see any golf clubs or anything up there. All right, they're focused on this week.
No four-wheelers.
And this week alone. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all we gotta say about it.
We got guys that are on other teams that are wishing they were back here. All right, let's stop making fun of Joe Judge. I don't hate him as much as everybody else.
Nah, it's just funny. It's funny. That's all it is, man. Although you gotta admit, he's involved in the offense over New England and the quarterback, and Mac Jones looks like
I'm a Bill Belichick stan. Like, and Bill Belichick I trust. Until this year, man, it's like you're tripping with what you're doing with this offense.
They put Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, a special teams coordinator and a defensive coordinator, in charge of the offense. Like that's insane. Destined to fail.
Yeah, insane, Bill. Like you've outsmarted yourself. Like
I know.
Just get yourself an offensive coordinator in there.
Congratulations, you played yourself. Yeah.
And I mean, listen, hear me out on the miracle thing. This is the 2008 Giants, right?
Gotcha.
Number 1 seed. They lost their last 2 out of 3 matchups, but then, all right, they played a team who beat the Vikings in the wild card round. That team was the number 6 seed, the 10-6-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who beat the Giants. Now, fast forward 14 years later. The Eagles, number 1 seed. They lost 2 out of their last 3 games. They play a team who beat the Vikings in the wild card round. It's the 6 seed, 10-7-1 New York Giants. It all makes sense, guys.
I have no idea what you just said. But I did see a tweet saying the Giants are 6-0 and history versus 1 seed. So we're gonna go 7-0.
Damn.
When people are like, "Oh, the Giants are undefeated in London, not going to beat the Packers," we did it. So we're going to continue the tradition of being undefeated versus 1 seeds.
Damn, that's that is the definition of underdogs right there. You know what's crazy? Quick tangent. I know we're about to like end this soon. Yeah. Since when? Why did the Eagles adopt the name underdogs? They had 1 season where they were underdogs. We literally did it twice. We're always underdogs. We're always coming back to win games. How on earth did they adopt the whole underdog thing? They think they're underdogs this week. Philly 500 made a video saying that they're underdogs. He feels disrespected because 10% of the mainstream media has the Giants winning. Like, I don't understand it. We're the true underdogs. That's a crazy stat, though, that you just said.
Yeah, I stole it from Dan Salamone, so.
Yeah.
Well, you just gave him credit, so I don't think you stole it, really.
That's true.
He did cite him.
But no, I mean,
never mind. I was gonna
go ahead. No, you got it.
I was gonna take a shot at somebody, and I decided not to.
Do it.
I think I know who.
No, I don't need it. We're in the playoffs. I don't need to throw shots into anybody.
You're right. Maybe we should be a bit happier.
Except for Eagles fans. If you see an Eagles fan, or even just an Eagle, take a shot.
Oh my God, I know Diggy's been laying in on them on Twitter.
I love it. He had a tweet this morning that said, "I'm going to spread so much hate this week," and I was like, "This is the best tweet I've seen like all week."
Diggy is old school. He's TTC. All right, the TTC days, baby.
You say that as if that's a good thing. All right, the TTC. Let me not get started on
what
that.
What is TTC?
Bro. The trash talking circle. This is what the Giants fan base was before. Well, any sports fan base was on YouTube before it became more analytical and stuff like that. We were just all trash talking. That's it.
It was like from like what 2008.
That's where bad dog comes from. That's where Copizzle comes from. That's where
Copizzle.
That's what I think. Diggy made some TTC videos and stuff like that. So yeah. Yep.
Anyway, this was kind of a joke of a last thing, but to talk about the AFC playoffs real quick, is there any team that you're looking at, if you have been paying attention to the AFC side of things, that you like a little bit this year? Any of you guys?
The Chiefs. I mean, I picked them in the beginning of the season. I'm going to pick them again, and I have a tweet to go off of what Kush has been saying. I have a tweet from 2019 when Patrick Mahomes got extended, saying like Patrick Mahomes will be making $45 million more than Daniel Jones when they face each other in the 2022 Super Bowl.
I seen that when you retweeted that.
So I need that to happen. I need that to happen. If that happens, like my first tweet will not be like we're going to the Super Bowl. it's going to be replying to that and be
reply
like,
that.
Subscribe to Talking Giants because I know that tweet's going to blow up afterwards.
Everybody gets a sticker. Whoever subscribes after that.
What about you, KB? Who on the AFC has caught your eye?
Caught my eye is different from who I think is gonna make the Super Bowl. Caught my eye is Jacksonville. I mean, I didn't think that they were gonna come back the way that they did, and then to make the divisional round is pretty sick. I mean, how crazy would it be for like a Jacksonville Giants Super Bowl? That'd be insane. But you know, they've definitely caught my eye. I still, and what surprised me was how badly Cincinnati struggled versus Baltimore. I mean, it was really tight before that like 98-yard fumble recovery touchdown. But I still think the Chiefs are going to make it out and go to the Super Bowl. I mean, they just look a lot better than everybody else. Cincinnati has probably the second best chance. But yeah, everybody else looks pretty beatable. But yeah.
Got you. But that's gonna be it for tonight, guys. For me on the AFC side, I don't think I'm still rolling with the Bengals because I'm a really big Joe Burrow fan, and it's become
without Collins and Jonah Williams. They're gonna have some bad tackle play. That's why
they had some bad line play all throughout the playoffs last year. I mean,
but they at least had Jonah Williams.
Yeah,
that's true.
So
I think he's gotten hit not a similar amount of times through the regular season this year, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure. Even with them in there.
Who's going to win Super Bowl MVP if the Giants do go to the Super Bowl?
Oh, I said it earlier in the chat. Richie James.
He's going to win Super Bowl MVP?
You guys think I'm joking?
Richie James can't win Super Bowl MVP because then Daniel Jones would just win it, even if Richie James deserved of it. It's either a defensive player or the quarterback.
I would just give the boring answer, say Daniel Jones. But if you want to get
Dexter Lawrence,
if you want to get a little spicy with it, Micah McFadden. But there we go.
Micah McFadden, I like it.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, bro, Gerard Davis is not letting him see
Malcolm Smith won a Super Bowl MVP. Okay,
thank you, Dexter Jackson on my favorite defense of all time, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Brian Kelly. You know who won Super Bowl MVP? Not the quarterback, Dexter Jackson. Who's Dexter Jackson? He was their 8th.
All right, but if you're going to say a linebacker, at least he'd say the starter, Gerard Davis.
Micah McFadden is going to have a pick six that's going to change. Micah McFadden is going to have a pick six that's going to change the course of the game, similar enough to like what Malcolm Smith did. All right, and I think Malcolm Smith had like 2 interceptions that game or something like that. I don't know. He was on a tear, even though he was like an irrelevant linebacker. Micah McFadden is going to make his Hall of Fame like career start in the Super Bowl. So there we go.
You
want to push agendas? I'm pushing my agenda.
Andrew Thomas should win it.
Oh yeah.
Has the offensive lineman ever gotten any type of MVP?
No, but
he should if he gets zero pressure like he did last game.
Like
this man, Andrew Thomas. This is the Andrew Thomas trio right here, bro. Everybody's been on him on this panel for like since before he was drafted.
Before he was drafted, yeah.
I'm going to try
me at least since the Washington game.
Extension this offseason. That's my goal for the offseason is to break the news on the Andrew Thomas extension.
Listen, you got the connect. He was in that van.
Oh yeah, once you're in the van, you're a friend for life.
Exactly. Once you in the you didn't even say that, KB. Guys, that's gonna be it for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to everybody. Here we got 55 people as we're closing it out. Please do your best to go over and follow Mr. Bobby Skinner on Twitter. And if you're not already, but I'm sure you are, make sure you're subscribed and follow to the Talking Giants podcast on all platforms. Make sure you do the same for my co-host Kid Blue. Most importantly, hit that like button, that share, and that follow button if you're new. That's it for now, guys. We are going to be out.